I love packing. Said no one ever. Packing can be a total beatdown, but in this video, I'm gonna share all my tips and tricks to help you pack like a pro. I have traveled to more than 40 countries. I got some tricks up my sleeve. Stick around, this is a great one. Hi ladies, it's Erin and welcome back to my channel. You guys, today we're gonna tackle packing like a pro. I don't know about you, even though I've been doing it over and over and over again for decades and have traveled to 41 countries, tallied it up, I still don't enjoy packing. So I'm guessing that maybe many of you don't either. When we take it to another level, which is packing in a carry-on, it's like a completely different sport, okay? You're gonna check a bag, it's a totally different game. And so in this video, I wanna talk about how you can pack lightly, smartly, strategically, make it easier for you to help you lighten the lift of it so it doesn't feel so heavy, it doesn't feel like such a burden. I promise you, stick around through the whole video. You're gonna be able to pack like a pro. Before we dive into the tips, just wanna say huge thank you to Quince for sponsoring this video. You guys are regular viewers. You know I've partnered with Quince a bunch and I only partner with brands that I love. So Quince makes accessible luxury because they believe that everyone deserves nice things. You will find some of the highest quality pieces at prices you won't believe, truly. So some of their newest products are travel related products, which you'll see peppered throughout this video. Quince also has an eye on sustainability and they provide free shipping and returns for up to a full year. Okay, shall we do it? Let's get started. All right, tip number one, your second bag strategy. Like that has to be dialed in, okay? It's not a like last minute, I think I'll grab that bag kind of decision. You have to really understand what your needs are for this trip, understand how much space you need, understand what you need in terms of while you're on your trip and ease of use. So let's get into it. You can go with a traditional travel bag that has the trolley sleeve, and that's the sleeve that slides over the handle of the suitcase. This is best for those of you who you need maximum space. Like let's say you're going on a 2 or 3 week or even a month-long trip and every single ounce of space counts and you're not messing around. You gotta squeeze it all in. You're gonna go for something like this, which I wouldn't suggest for every single trip. But again, if it's a longer trip, you're packing light, you're doing a second bag that's going to hold so much and really give you the best bang for your buck. And then of course, because it's larger, you wanna make sure that it has that sleeve so it's gonna slide over the handle of that carry-on. Otherwise, that's a disaster waiting to happen if it's sliding off the bag at every turn, or God forbid, you're racing through an airport. So this is an example of, your prototypical travel bag. This one is by Quince. It is a pebble leather, very nice quality, beautiful pockets in the interior, great zippers that are very durable. And then of course you have the sleeve to pass through and the crossbody strap too. So if you do go with that option, just make sure you don't overpack it because there are situations where you're going to have to put it underneath the seat in front of you. And if it's overpacked, it's not going to fit. Okay, just make sure that if you do go with the larger option, you don't stuff it to the brim. We'll get more into the toiletries and all that in a minute. There's a lot of great tips when it comes to toiletries too, so make sure you stay with me for that. Before we move on to your carry-on suitcase, what you're packing there, what you're using there, all the tools that you need for that, let's talk a little bit about what's going into your second bag. Okay, so that's the one I just showed you. Your second bag's gonna have your toiletries. You're gonna separate your liquids. So you've got makeup, skincare, basic toiletries, liquids. For tech, you've got your iPad, your plug, your international adapter if you need it, your charging cables, your backup battery. I always have an eye mask on an airplane. I love that the Quince eye mask has a silk case that it comes in because usually I just like throw my eye mask into my bag. It's in there with like my headphones and the tech. And then also in tech, you've got your headphones. I've used the same headphones for years. I love to travel with them. They're very comfortable over the ears. And I much prefer that over an AirPod, especially on the plane. The noise canceling feature is much better than the Apple AirPod, for example. And then of course, The other thing you're going to put in your second bag is your cash, your passport, your wallet. Even with the wallet, I slimmed down. Instead of my usual wallet, I'll just take a card holder with the essential cards and that's it. You don't need to be bringing every single card with you on your trip. It doesn't matter if you're going domestically or internationally. Just slim down those essential cards to like 1 or 2. You've got your passport or your license. That's everything in that second bag. Okay. All right. Let's talk packing cubes. So when you're packing in a carry-on, I honestly do not think that you should only use packing cubes. I know it's a radical thought. Everybody says to use the packing cubes, and I'm going to tell you to use them, but don't use them for the whole thing. All right. I want you to lay your dresses flat on the non-handle side of your suitcase. Dresses are long and bulky. If you try to shove them into a cube, the cube gets fat really fast. So I want you to make them as long as possible and then fold it over one time. Okay. You got 2 dresses, maybe 3 in your carry-on. You fold those in half and you put them on the non-handle side of your suitcase. Let's talk about packing cubes though. So for the other side, I want you to put your pants, shorts, skirts in a cube. Here is the Quince cube. And honestly, this is the best quality cube I've ever seen. I know, that is high praise. I have seen my share of packing cubes, let me tell you. Do not order the cheapos from you know who, okay? Tempting. I've done it. I've got them. They're terrible. I've thrown them away. These are amazing. They have compression with the zippers. So if you decompress them, this is one fat cube. With the compression, it's amazing. It reduces the size so much. So in this cube, for example, I have 3 pairs of pants, a pair of shorts, and a skirt. Look at how small it is. And that could be everything that I'm bringing on my trip. For the other side or the handle side of the suitcase, I want you to use your big fat bottom compression cube. You're going to use another compression cube for your tops, and then you're going to put those on top of your dresses. So usually your top cube is going to be a little smaller, and that's nice because then you can fit it like this into the suitcase versus it taking up the whole length of the suitcase. So the Quince set comes with all these different sizes too, which is really nice. So you can use some of these smaller sizes for undergarments if you want, or you can use it for your tech bag, which I used it with the headphones. As far as packing cubes go, these are like the Lamborghini of packing cubes, okay? All right. Make sure you use compression cubes and also make sure you use them strategically. So you're not going to do them all throughout the suitcase, all throughout the carry-on, but you are going to use them to reduce the size and the puffiness of some of your clothing items. The next tip is to use the interior compression. So this carry-on suitcase is by Quince. This one, by the way, is modeled after a really popular carry-on suitcase. The size of it is great. It's 22.8 inches, which is the max size that you can possibly have for a carry-on. Again, I know it's like, really, Erin, do you know that 22 plus inches is the max size? Yes, I do. Why? Because I travel a lot. But that said, the size of the suitcase is max. However, I know for some international flights, it could present a problem. So just make sure you check. You guys have commented before that you sometimes have issues. I have never once had an issue with international travel using a 22 incher. All right? Never, ever, ever, ever. 41 countries, all right? The other carry-ons, I've got them all the good brands. They're in the vicinity of 21 inches. And I don't know what it is, but it's like a little bit of extra space makes all that difference. So you're gonna use the interior compression, which almost every carry-on suitcase has. This Quince suitcase has it, and it's excellent. It's like you're putting a corset on your clothes. So again, you can reduce the size and the height of the clothing to fit more things in the suitcase. You could go the route of the vacuum bags. You know, you've seen those. I have actually used them before. It's too much, all right? I'm just gonna tell you straight up, like, it's too much. Don't do it. Just use the interior compression. It's there. It's so helpful, underutilized, and such a great tool for you when you need to reduce the space and the size. Next tip is to take outfit photos before you pack. So you're setting out your piles of things. You're like, here are the bottoms, here are the tops, here's the undergarments, here are my swimsuits, whatever. Make sure you take photos in the mirror of the outfits. And the reason being is you might realize like, oh, this dress I have packed I don't have any shoes that I like to wear with it, or I need a bag to work with this top and pant combo, but I don't really have one. So you're gonna eliminate things based on those photos. Also, it's gonna help you on the other end because you're gonna create an album on your iPhone and then you're gonna be able to refer back to it because you're like, oh, I know I created a cool outfit before I left. What did I do again? And then you're just be like, boom, 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 boom. Here it is. It really does make everything much more streamlined and simple and really does reduce overpacking so much because you know exactly like, okay, that works, that works, that works. I've got the accessories for that. I've got the shoes for that. Otherwise, you're packing things that you may not be able to use or you may not feel good wearing. Along the same lines, you want to choose a color story. We are always featuring capsule wardrobes. Like we featured a summer capsule recently. I featured a beach capsule, and you'll notice within these capsules, there's a color story. Usually it's black, white, tan, and maybe a blue thrown in there. That's it. You have a color story. The reason that's so important is because everything needs to mix and match together. When you're packing so lightly, absolutely you're going to wear things over and over and over again. So it all needs to work like a capsule. So choose a thoughtful, intentional color story and stick with it. You can add exciting pops with your accessories, maybe a scarf, maybe you throw one blouse in there that's colorful, maybe you have one wow dress that's colorful. The rest is within that color story framework. So, so, so important. 3 pairs of shoes. That's how many you get for your carry-on. If you've got size 12 feet like my husband, you may not get 3 pairs of shoes in there. I'm a size 7.5, so I can get 3 pairs of shoes and pack in a carry-on. One of the pairs of the shoes is sneakers, and I always wear those on the plane. The other pair this time of year would be like a dressy sandal, usually a wedge, something I could walk in, and then the other would be a flat sandal. So that's it. Sometimes you have a little extra space. You can sneak in another like flat sandal or something. But if you're doing the carry-on, 3 pairs of shoes is really where you need to cap it. One of those pairs of shoes you are going to wear on the plane. So in fall, winter, your shoes might be sneakers, booties, and flats as an example. Okay. Next tip is to choose light fabrics. I can't tell you how many times I've ordered a dress online thinking, oh, I'm going to bring this gorgeous like cotton gauze dress with me. And I don't know if you understand what cotton gauze is, but it's textured cotton that's quite thick. You get one of those dresses, you put it in a suitcase, it's like half your space is gone. You have a structured dress, like I just brought on my trip to Europe, beautiful, but I checked a bag, different story. Gonna take up half your suitcase. Everything needs to be thin, lightweight. One of the things I brought recently was this silk midi dress. I wore it during the daytime with flat sandals and this little white t-shirt, and then I wore it at night with no t-shirt and heels. The beauty about this is, number one, it's wrinkle resistant, even though it's silk. It's easy to get those wrinkles out by hanging it in your shower and running the hot water, or borrowing a steamer from the hotel or using the hotel steamer in your room. And then it takes up no space, whisper thin. So think about what you might have that is incredibly thin, lightweight, isn't going to take up a lot of room in your suitcase. I could do a silk midi skirt and wear that a bunch of different ways. That takes up no space in my suitcase. Any kind of paper thin cotton. You just want to be strategic about the fabric choices. You can't do the gargantuan cotton gauze thick maxi dress. It's just not going to work. Wear your layers on travel day. So that's especially important in the fall, winter, you know, when you've got big bulky coats or jackets or boots. This time of year, it means wearing your sneakers. It means maybe wearing that trench coat or that blazer. If I were traveling right now, I would wear like a light colored blazer that I would also want to wear on the trip. Depending on where you're traveling to, the outfit needs to be a certain level of comfort. So for me, if I'm traveling internationally, I want pants that feel like sweatpants. Here's an example. These are literal sweatpant jeans. So they look like jeans, but they're actually a cotton terry that's like a sweatpant. And they have functional belt loops and pockets and a button and zipper and everything, but they literally feel like sweatpants. I would wear that, a white t-shirt, and then I have my jacket over it, which elevates, sneakers, bulkiest shoe on my feet. So it's comfortable in every single way possible, but also looks really polished and put together. This one is super important because this is the runaway train that happens to a lot of us, especially us women. Make sure you pack travel size toiletries. I travel so much that I decided decided fairly recently, like 6 months ago, I was gonna have a grab and go travel bag. Like I'm tired of trying to think like, what do I need? And do I have every makeup brush? And do I have this and that and this? You know, it's just like kind of annoying. These gorgeous leather pouches, by the way, are by Quince. It's a set, beautiful, high quality textured pebbles, so it doesn't like scuff or anything. It's pretty durable. My grab and go has my travel brush. I'd love to have my big fat brush, but I don't. I have my travel brush because this is about saving space. Deodorant, toothbrush. I don't have toothpaste in there because that's with the liquids. And then here's my little grab and go makeup. That's it. Every single thing in here for the most part, besides like mascara, lipstick, is travel size. Even my eyeliner is travel size. In my other pouch, I've got makeup brushes and my sponge and some tweezers and an eyelash curler. So my blister pack with Band-Aids, blister things, and then I've got a couple, what do you call them? Floss picks. So that's ready to go too. I keep these grab and go. So I don't use these makeup brushes and I don't use this sponge for anything else other than travel. It's really nice. It saves so much time. And then liquids, obviously you have to separate just in case they want to scan those separately. I just wanted to show you one of the things I discovered recently that I thought was so clever. To save space, I use the same skincare when I travel and when I'm at home. You can buy refillable packets for the skincare. I decided to take the packaging off and just use the refillable containers, which saves so much freaking space in my toiletry bag. I have a tiny foundation. I have a tiny sunscreen. I have a tiny perfume. I have my tiny setting spray. I have my tiny eye cream. I have my tiny face cream. I have my tiny face wash. That's the name of the game. Travel size, tiny, minimal. Next, use the small spaces in the suitcase. Once you put your dresses down, your shoes down, maybe your top cube, and then you have your other pant cube on the other side, then you're gonna have all these spaces around the edges of the cubes and the shoes. You're gonna put socks, underwear, bras, tanks, camis, slips, belts, anything extra in those crevices and spaces. Sunglasses. Make sure that when you're putting your belts in, if you're doing it as a roll, that you put the buckle on the inside of the roll to preserve the buckle. You also could line the suitcase with your belt, kind of like just line the edges of the suitcase, but I usually roll and then keep the buckle inside. So make sure you use the small spaces, even like inside of shoes. If I'm packing for a summer trip, I don't really have any shoe space, but if I were packing for more of a fall winter trip and I had a pair of booties in my suitcase, I would pack inside the bootie. If I'm packing a hat, I pack inside the hat. If I'm packing an extra bag, I pack inside the bag. Do not waste any space. A couple of quick notes about the Quince carry-on. It is super lightweight, 6.7 pounds, which is especially important when you're lifting it into the overhead bin. Like my goal when I get older is to stay strong enough that I can always lift that suitcase into the overhead bin. And it's also expandable. So if you shop while you're there, you have a little extra room on the way home. Huge thank you to Quince for sponsoring this video. Huge thank you to all of you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we upload a new video. And remember, all the links are below in the description box. Let us know if you have questions. I will see you next time. Bye guys. Love y'all.